Hi, it's Robin. Got something different today. Yeah, get the 16 and 32-bit jokes in, because this is a 386SX laptop. This is the fourth or fifth, depending on how I count, computer I ever owned. I bought back in 1992. Let's take a look at it. This is the case that came with it. Helpfully says notebook. Got a big pocket here, and I've got the power supply, and we will have some 8-bit Commodore content. It involves this cable. We'll look at that in a bit. So there's the power supply with a regular IEC connector, same one that a lot of the pets, the 1541 have, and of course even modern day desktops if they still make those. DC output 24 volts, 2.2 amps. And here we go. Here it is. So pretty small for the era. Weighs a fair bit. So there's a contrast and brightness knob for the screen. There's the power button. Oh, that was clicked in. There's the DC input. There's a proof of purchase sticker I put on there. I don't know why. The back VGA monitor, which says external monitor here. Printer port, 25-pin parallel. The external FDD, external floppy drive. I don't know if that connector is common. And two 9-pin serial COM ports. It's got two battery packs, and of course those are very dead now. Two NiCad batteries. 8.4 volts DC, 1400 milliamps. Yeah, it's really dead. They had quite a bit of corrosion on them. I tried to clean them up a while ago. It's better, but it's still pretty bad. And it works in pairs. You have to have both in. Back when it was working. Over on this side, a high-density floppy drive. Low door for an external keypad port. I don't know if that's proprietary. And here's the tag, Ultinet, made February 23rd, 1992. It was at a computer show in Toronto. There's the serial number. And Ultinet was a company in Toronto. And I was there spring break. I was in, finishing my first year of university. And had just been using my Amiga 500 up to that point. Well, I guess then my Commodore 64. And that wasn't completely cutting it for computer science. So we'll try, and here we go. A little worried about that hinge. Here it is. Ultinet 386SX20, 0 weight. Or is that? Oh, weight. And it's got these status lights here. DC battery. I believe that's battery low, full. Turbo, HDD, and FDD for the hard drive and floppy drive access. So this computer is a little bit of a mystery. I mean, it's not a mystery. I've owned it for 28 years. But everything about it, the only branding seems to be this Ultinet, as they manufactured it. But of course, I am sure that they did not build these from scratch in Toronto. That they must have got the cases, all the components manufactured elsewhere, in Asia probably, and then shipped to them. But what's interesting is how they managed to totally disguise that. So I'm curious if any of you know more about the actual origins of this computer. Later on I'll share some photos of the motherboard that I took when I opened it one time. And I still have the user book for it. This is a bit of a clue. It says it's a 2210 notebook computer user's manual. But the manual is extremely vague on any other details. Notice, the company reserves the right to revise this publication, and the company. And it's the first edition. Gives some vague credits here. And that gets into the safety instructions. But anyway, I've looked absolutely through this book. It actually has like hex codes for the different VGA modes. Some specs listed. But basically it's this like totally unbranded experience. So I suspect there was a company that manufactured this and all set it up ready to sell to other distributors as so-called manufacturers like Ultinet did. But I have not found any other computer exactly like this one. It's similar to some Toshibas I've seen, but it certainly isn't identical. It's just like it just takes a lot of cues from various Toshibas of the era. I did find a couple ads with a lot of searching on the internet, old magazines. I'll show a couple pictures of those here. And this magazine, Electronics Technology Today, September 1991, they're actually asking 2,800 Canadian for this. And just 5 months later, I bought it for 1,600 Canadian, which at the time was a fantastic deal. Part how I got the good price was just keeping the default 1 meg of RAM, the 40 megabyte hard drive, and just having DOS put on instead of Windows, even though they pushed hard for me to upgrade it with extra RAM and Windows, but I wasn't interested in that. Alright, we'll try and power it up and see if it still will boot. I haven't started up in a while. Okay. I'll try and hook this up to my video capture device in a bit. I think it looks more flickery on the camera than it is to my eye. So if you put up with it for a bit, and once I get booted, I should be able to switch it over to the external monitor. It needs a software driver for it. Okay, so yeah, I'm getting a bad CMOS battery fail, and the CMOS checksum. CMOS RAM error, check battery run setup. So we will press Control-Alt-Escape to get into that. That's the award software CMOS setup. Yeah, and it thinks it's 1990 again. It's kind of like the future for this channel. Okay, so today is, what is it? 4/09/20. And that's good enough. Okay, so let's try and do that. F10 records changes. F5 to confirm update. Alright, now the CMOS is passed. Oh! Okay, non-system disk or disk error. Replace and press any key when ready. Okay, I probably have to go into the BIOS here. How do I do that? Control-Escape again. Oh yeah, here we go. Disk type 17. Yeah, that changed the cylinders, heads, and so on. F10 to record. F5 to save. There we go. Okay, yeah, now so this notebook computer 2210 system driver, version 2.25. So this is the software that came installed on this computer, and I think all these extra keys down here, and I think it's F7 that says L/C. Hard to get that on the camera. To switch between LCD and CRT. There we are. Alright. Oh, that's got some out-of-date personal information on there. So this is a master menu. This was actually written by this Wayne Osipenko in 1988 for Mikadon. Oh, the display goes to sleep quick. For Mikadon is the computer store I worked for in the 90s.
Get the Mikadon experience working for you. Their knowledgeable sales staff will help you select the right home computer for your needs. Experience it. IBM-compatible machines, Amiga, and the Atari ST. Take advantage of Thunder Bay's largest software collection for Amiga, IBM, C64, Apple, Macintosh, and more. Even a wide selection of Nintendo and Sega Genesis cartridges, and educational software too. Mikadon, 267 Park Avenue and in the County Fair Plaza. Thunder Bay's complete computer centers.
Okay, that's better. Hi, it's Robin. Postal code pot to go. That's not really mine, but that is a humorous real postal code that's in my region. Alright, let's try and get that video capture working. So I got a video cable here. Okay, let's try and switch that over to the capture function F7. There it is. I'm not used to seeing that in color. So yeah, this is the main menu where a bunch of my programs, I think I actually deleted some of these to save hard drive space a long time ago. So I don't necessarily have everything that's here in this menu anymore. See, I think Prince of Persia still works. Prince of Persia. I haven't played this for a while. Give it a quick try here. You know, this is out for the C64 now. Pretty amazing port. Ah! Alright. What is it to get here? Control Q? Yeah. C64S. This is probably the second C64 emulator I ever used after one on the Amiga 500. It's super slow though. Let's try 205.5. I watched that it actually responds to each key press. So I'm going back to my so-called hunt and peck ways. There we go. Run. So slow. And what is it? Tab is break. The keyboard mapping is roughly positional, so it's pretty closely corresponding with the C64 layout, but not the symbolic mapping that matches, like the brackets are on 8 and 9 instead of 9 and 0. And you hit, it's F10 to get into the menu system. And you can do things like turn on joysticks, not that I have ever had any for this. Program your keyboard sets. Alt, there's a monitor built into it. And you can look at the different discs they have. Whoa! Barbie! My sister loved that one. I was doing some sort of sort on here. I don't even remember that. Alright, and control break. So let's see. Escape to get out of that. And I think it's control break to get out. We can exit to DOS. Alright, I think that's a batch file head just to get into the assembler here. Let's look. Okay, yeah, so this snakes.sh rebadged. This was the game. That's the game I wrote for my assembly language class in university in 1993, as you can see there. Let's just make a copy of that. Thanks to. And then take a look at that program. How do I make the cursor different? Insert, I think. There's a bigger cursor. Snakes version 1.1 by me, 1993, for Dr. Hasegawa. And my second year, the computer science class was under the math department at my university. So 2473 was like a assembly language or architecture class. I wrote the instructions here. Your player is an asterisk. Hey, just like my 10 print racer game. This is a long tradition. And yeah, you move the asterisk around with the IJKL, and there are 3 snakes after you. I was pretty proud of this game at the time, but it's probably really terrible. Anyway, I'm not going to go through... Well, let's flip through the source code quickly here. Oh, here's the... So that was the data segment. That's where you put stuff like... Well, data. Text. Notes. I don't know if that's the music. Oh, this has terrible music, I think. That was part of the assignment, though. He called it... Our professor wanted us to, quote, multitask by playing music while the game was playing with different... So that you're doing multiple things, not just one thing at a time. Yeah, I haven't coded in 8086 for a long time here. So that's a music player there. This is probably terrible code. Almost no comments. Oh, raise this value to slow down the snakes. And up here, lower this value to speed up the game. All the directions. I could probably code this in about half or even a quarter of the instructions here now. Anyway, let's, what is it? Alt F X to get out. Let's try it. Masm snakes to .asm. Is that all you gotta do? Object file name. Okay, looks like it worked. Okay, now we have our object code. I think we gotta do like link run file snakes2. Yep, let's try and run it. Snakes2. Well, don't need the exe, right? There we go. Snakes by me. IJKL to move, space to start. There, okay, I'm the asterisk up in the top corner. Sorry about the music. It's terrible. I think I'm ripping off, like, is it Beast or something? Oh, that snake's coming after me. So you gotta box it out, box it up. But it's a really dumb AI, so... Okay, so this... There. Okay. What was tricky is making it so you could push multiple blocks at once. There. Now you see how the snake disappeared? Alright. And there's another one there. There. Kill him. And there's one more snake. I can't even see where the S is. Oh, way up there. Top left. Sorry about the music. This might be driving you crazy. Oh. Okay, we gotta get him to follow us back down into the hole. There. There. Level complete. And then level 2. Spacebar. Okay, really stupidly, there aren't even more snakes on the next level. Okay, anyway. Good. Okay, and escape to quit. Thank goodness. And what else do I want to show you? Oh, of course. So I think I showed you this earlier. This is a X1541 cable. So it's a 25-pin parallel port. Not all the pins are there. I can't remember if I built this one or I might have ordered it. And it gives you a regular Commodore serial IEC port. So I'll hook this up. So it attaches on the printer port. And I've got a trusty 1541 here. Oh, I need a power cable. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, I've got it hooked up, and we'll try running Star Commander. Does it work? Huh. Okay. Okay, read error. Yeah, I guess I should have had a disk in there. Okay, so if you haven't used this Star Commander, and this was made by Joe Forster. So yeah, it was heavily influenced by Norton Commander and so on. These Commander programs were very popular in the DOS days, just in case you weren't ever a DOS user. And really there's the two panels, the left panel and the right panel. And it's for doing all sorts of file work. If you want to copy stuff, it's easier than typing in DOS commands and more convenient a lot of the time. Okay, so pressing F9 brings up these pull-down menus, and you can either do stuff with the left or the right. Of course, there's keyboard shortcuts too, but I don't remember them all. Okay, so here we can try reread, or you can choose what drive the right panel is going to look at, and we're going to choose drive 8. And you see you can also just choose a regular DOS, the A drive, the C drive. Okay, so let's see if this works. Yep, there we go. Random generator. By the way, this is I haven't even looked at this before. This is a disc I found published by Commodore. Computer Science 1, C64 717. Okay, and then you can browse through here, check out your different files, and then you can copy, I think, tab to move between the panes. And we can browse around here. Okay, well, I've got a folder here called C64S. Disks. Okay, and then here we could just like copy a file over. So say I want to take this random generator file, and down at the bottom there it says 5, that's F5 for copy. And we're going to copy that file over to C64S disks, and it lets you name the file. So I think that's just copying at regular DOS speeds. At regular Commodore DOS speeds. Okay, and we should be able to here set it. Okay, configuration. No. Drive options. Oh yeah, we're normal right now. So instead, let's try that in warp mode. You can mess with different settings if it doesn't work, but I'm not going to play with that since it's working. Okay, so this is the warp mode. And let's try and copy over this file, 46 blocks, to C64S. All right. You see how much faster that goes. There we go. So we've copied those files over. And I think we can also copy the whole disk as a disk image. Let's try this. Copy disk to the file comp.sci.d64. There it goes. So even at warp it takes a while, but this is really quite fast. There's 35 tracks to copy in a standard D64. So yeah, this was my main way of transferring. I would get files on the internet. I would download them, well, I don't know, wherever I could, onto 3.5-inch floppy disks. And then I could stick them in this computer and transfer them over to the C64. Since I didn't have this computer on the internet at all, in fact, I would get my Amiga 500 hooked up to the terminal. Well, maybe, I don't know if I ever had a modem for this. Anyway, I could transfer between the Amiga 500 and this computer. Okay, there we go. So you see it has made up here this CompSci D64. And there it's got all the files at once. Anyway, very handy, very powerful program, especially for the time. It blew me away, and it opened up all kinds of new possibilities for when I would do work on my C64 or do work on my laptop and transfer them between, throughout the night. Well, you know, I never did quit using my Commodore 64. I'd use it a bit less at times, but I've always been into it. And so whenever I got a new computer, it often opened up new possibilities for my C64 as well as all the other things the new computers could do. Okay, and finally we'll take a partial look inside. I'm not going to fully disassemble it, but I will take off the keyboard so we can look inside there. I really don't want to break this thing. So just remove those 2 screws, and then this should, just took off that little door for the external keyboard. There we go. Okay, that lifts up. Just that little connector there. So there's the keyboard. Keyboard 810102225Z. And then this little shield comes out. So I'm not going to take off the back part with the screen. I've had it off once before. I'll show a picture of what it looks like under there, but it made me nervous with the state of the hinge and so on. So it's surprising how much open PCB there is here. There's that 2210 model number again. Motherboard, or MB 80120838Y. Empty RAM sockets. And there's the onboard 1 meg, I think. Headland Technologies, that's the VGA chip. The 386SX20. What does B1 mean? I don't know. There's a spot for the math coprocessor. And here's these very sketchy looking, I think these are the BIOS ROMs. You could see 2210, copyright 1986 AMD. They're just EPROMs. They are in sockets. And there's a sticker under that says 2210. You can make it out. And then there's this official looking hologram kind of sticker slapped on top. Are those counterfeit, or did they put on? I don't know. If any of you know more about PCs, I'm sure some people will have some opinions here. And then this little black blob here says version 4.2. The little internal speakers down here with a jumper over it. And then we have, I think that's 11 pins and this kind of like black blob in here. And I don't know if that is the CMOS battery and storage. That's probably, it seems to be just soldered in. And then in the back we have the floppy drive and the hard drive. So that's a picture I took earlier, last time I had this apart. So very interesting how generic the board is. Seems to me that there must be at least one other company somewhere that sold the same laptop. It seems strange that a company would go so much trouble to create this very generic board, presumably to resell, and only Ultinet would take them up on it. So probably somebody somewhere has another one like this with a different branding. All right, thank you to my patrons who make this possible, and thank you to you for watching. If you want me to go more in depth with anything you saw here today, let me know in the comments. And otherwise, I'll get back to my regular, more 8-bit programming. Both figuratively and literally. No, both literally and literally. Okay, after I record this, I put the laptop back together and the hard drive has died. When I power it up, this is what it does. It tries 3 times to power up. Yeah, error initializing hard disk controller 0. So that's a bummer. I don't think I've lost anything too important. I had backups of everything important off that hard drive, but I don't think I'll ever be able to put it back exactly the way it was. And this means my idea for the Patreon credits isn't going to work, so I'll just have to use one of my Commodore machines. Sorry, guys. But on the bright side, it means I pulled more of the computer apart and I took some photos. I discovered that there was a big, nasty Varda battery soldered onto the motherboard, so that'll have to be replaced before it leaks all over the place. So I was wrong earlier about the battery being in that blob in the bottom left corner. Also, we can see another marking on the motherboard, NTC 71-03500-003A. And we can also see that the computer uses an Acer M5105 drive controller, and it has these Cirrus Logic CLGD 610 and 620 chips, which are for the flat panel controller. So if I'm going to have this computer in another video, I'm obviously going to have to do some work on it before that. I guess we'll see. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.